Yo, we did a Barbie review a few weeks ago. We reacted to the Barbie trailer a few days ago, and at this very moment, I think it has like 2.6K. I could be wrong, but thank you. Like I'm still in shock by it because I'm just like it was something that Rebecca wanted to do for fun, and like I didn't expect it to blow up as much of it. I didn't realize y'all like Barbie this much. So
everybody's going to go see Barbie right after, if not the same day as Oppenheimer.
Honestly,
it's the double feature of the century, bro. It's Barbie, and then all right, let's go watch a bomb.
If you watch the review for it, Rebecca goes on a rant on why like she really wants this movie to sweep and like crush Oppenheimer. Yeah, today people were back at again on the last minute reaction. Very impromptu because me and Chris we already had plans today on doing stuff for his own channel, so we haven't checked out his channel. Check that out, Chris. At Christian Valera makes great content.
Not the DJ.
Not the DJ. Christian Valera.
Yeah,
there's a distinction.
Just can't do it. I can't take this shit no more, man.
I noticed that the trailer for the upcoming animated, highly anticipated animated film, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutant Mayhem, has dropped. And from my knowledge, I just found out like literally like a minute ago, Chris Valera, you don't know anything about this.
What the fuck?
Yeah, right beforehand, while we were talking about this, before we hit record, you mentioned this, and I heard nothing until literally just a few minutes ago. Didn't know this was a thing. I thought the series was over. Now you're telling me that there's a new movie coming out. So yeah, this is going to be a fresh, real reaction for whatever could be coming down the pipeline.
Well, you finna find out.
This film is actually being produced, and I think either produced and written and directed by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg. So
okay,
yeah. So there are So there are the brains behind this this animated feature. And the teaser trailer dropped, I think around like 2 months ago, give or take, and surprised the crap out of me because going into it, I went into it completely blind. No one really knew what their vision of TMNT was going to be like, but I'll just say that they're taking a lot of inspirations from Spider-Verse. I'll say that.
Okay.
And they're doing more of that, like let's make this animated film look like an actual comic book, and it surprised the living crap out of me.
Want to know me? Let's go!
Mostly the story with this version of the Turtles is they're focusing a lot more on the mutants this time, and not like Shredder and like the Foot. So it's a completely different direction that they've gone in with the movie so far, because every movie that we've seen
has usually been the Foot or Shredder, and that's it.
There's only been the Foot and Shredder and like one or two mutants like pushed in there, mixed in there. So this is gonna be mostly just mutant focused in New York. And so after hearing this, Chris, what do you think? Is that a movie that you can get behind or no?
Yeah, because I get kind of tired and exhausted of the same villain for the same movies. Like for Fantastic Four, it's always been Doom, Doom. Where I'm like, okay, is there any other rogues? Like, what's the rogues gallery like? Because dealing with Foot and the Shredder only shows like one side of what they can do versus what are the two? There was the Warthog and the Rhino guy from the
Bebop and Rocksteady.
Right. If you start adding in some of these other characters, or even some of the narratives from like the TV show, like the old, I want to say it's the TMNT show on either CW Kids or I want to say Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
I remember there was ones where like it dealt with like time travel, it dealt with like characters I've never heard of, stuff like that.
Get out of my way! No! It's so not yesterday. It's the only way to play. Yes, we're here to stay.
If they could do more narratives like that show where it's more than just the Foot and Shredder, yes.
Yeah.
A few moments later.
That's what's kind of going into my mind going in this was like, okay, like Seth Rogen clearly is a fan of the Turtles, a fan of these characters, a fan of the universe, and is going to take aspects of what he loves about the Turtles from, you know, the comics and you know, some of the various TV shows, and, you know, put it in a new direction, as well as having a sense of like familiarity with it. So I'm very excited. And I love Seth Rogen as a producer, because he's been doing a lot of great things as a producer, him and Evan Goldberg, because he's been doing a lot of stuff with, like, you know, The Boys and adapting Invincible, which people already know is my favorite comic book.
He had a hand in that, right?
Yeah, him and Evan Goldberg produced it for Amazon, and it's phenomenal. So the moment they said, yo, Seth Rogen is doing Ninja Turtles, I was on board. All right, I was on board. It was a wrap for me.
Given their prior work history, I was expecting, if I would have known this, I would have been expecting the black and white TMNT, that kind of like grungier, darker kind of TMNT for a second.
Boys, where have you been? We're just running errands.
That's it?
Look, we're really sorry, Splinter. Some of the guys wanted to get pizza, and I tried to talk them out of it.
You ratted us out.
Hey,
don't use that word that way.
I mean, it's 2023.
Sorry, Dad.
Hey, guys, if we weren't monsters that were shunned by society and we could do what we wanted, what would you guys do?
Go to high school. Maybe get a girlfriend.
Can you imagine that?
Not likely. This is insane. Turtle, mutant, karate teens. I want to know everything about you. Our dad is definitely not a giant rat. That makes me feel like he's a rat.
Police are baffled by the recent crime wave led by Superfly.
Nobody's ever seen his face.
Why?
Because he kills everyone who does.
Whoa.
Cool.
No, not cool.
A bit cool.
Can I kick it?
We take out Superfly, and then everyone will think we're cool. They'll accept us.
Can I kick it? He's making a deal tonight under the Brooklyn Bridge. Can I kick? Whoa. Kick.
What the? Y'all some little tortoises, huh?
I can't believe there are other mutants.
You want to roll with us?
That's it.
Humans are never gonna like us.
We are.
So we gonna let the mutants rule the earth.
Peoples, they got to go.
Okay, sort of a twist.
We can't stop him.
We gotta try.
6 in the morning, police at my door.
Wow.
Can I kick it?
My son, Michelangelo, you have heart. Donatello, you have wisdom.
That's Jackie Chan.
You have bravery. And Leonardo, honor.
Enough talk. I dream about fighting every night.
You got a rage problem, right?
It's not a problem.
Can I kick it? Can I kick it?
Let's go. So, off rip. What do you think? First thought.
I like it. First things I noticed was art style. They took it that much more to be like a comic book, because I saw like the squiggles, like the almost like the like when you shade with the color pencil or something like that. I saw a lot more of that. Second, the Fly has a lot of charisma. The Fly has me cracking up. I'm not gonna lie. But your little tortoises.
Yeah, okay. It's what I'm gonna blow your mind. All right, it's what I'm gonna blow your mind. Because I just remembered who was playing him the moment I heard his voice. Superfly is played by the legend of hip hop himself. It's fucking Ice Cube playing Superfly, bro.
Word?
I'm being dead ass.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap right now. Stop the cap.
I need to hear this shit again.
I think this is kind of when I knew that Ice Cube was in it, just because I heard him make a fucking West Side, like, I think like 2 short lyrics when he was just like,
6 in the morning, police at my door.
Yeah, see, now I hear it now. Yeah.
Hard.
Perfectly
so
said,
hard,
just like
bro.
Ice Cube does.
Of course. You gotta have a West Coast hip hop reference. Come on now.
Bro,
Bro, that's fucking Ice Cube, bro. I was like,
because like I'm hearing voices that I'm like, okay, I'm not connecting this.
No,
I was like, I recognize the rat. I was like, who's Splinter? Who is Splinter? I know who Splinter is. Jackie Chan.
Jackie Chan. Yeah. It's Jackie Chan playing Splinter, which I think is awesome. But no, Superfly is being played by Ice Cube, and I think this is the first like voiceover role I've ever heard Ice Cube do. I don't know anything. I don't think he's ever done anything else in voiceover besides I think this one.
Nah, I don't believe it.
That's the thing with this movie. Yeah, again, they're taking a lot of inspiration from like Spider-Verse and trying to make this movie feel as much of a comic as possible. Again, I love how you mentioned like the texture line and stuff like that. It looks like it's made from like color pencil or like
they went in their own direction with it. It's taking what in Spider-Verse did with its art style, its unique art style, but instead of copying it, it took it in its own direction to be more closely related to the actual TMNT comic.
Mm-hmm.
And
exactly.
I like it. It's helped separate it without it being too similar.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, like if you could put like the way like if you put like a cell from like a frame from Spider-Verse and a frame from this, you can see that like there's influences there, but like they're drastically different in terms of like the aesthetic that they've decided to go with. The reason why I think that this is going to stand out a lot more and like the reason why I love it is because the actual turtles themselves are actually played by actual teenagers, which like hasn't really been done. Like most of the turtles that have been voiced throughout the years have mostly been voiced by adults. And
that's true. Yeah.
So the fact that they're being voiced by like actual teenagers, like they have like the actual teenagers in like the accurate like age bracket gives them more of that youthful energy which you expect from like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie or television show, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, it adds one thing that stood out the most was definitely their age, and I was curious on how early on this was when they're doing their thing, and it looks like they're just getting to their first ever actual mission. I'm curious. I am curious. What has me kind of thinking is, okay, so Nickelodeon's involved, and they're also younger kids, so obviously the demographic works perfectly. This movie is for. But I am curious on their feats. I want to see what they're gonna do with these mutants. What's gonna happen with the story overall? What they're gonna do? Like, I'm not sure. I'm kind of I'm very curious to see what's coming out of this because these are the same thoughts I had when Spider-Verse came out, because I was like, oh, this looks cool. This is like an animated Spider-Man movie. I'm not sure what to expect. This is like a young Miles Morales, so let's see what it's like, and then it just blew me away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it seems like that's kind of the vibe where it's like kind of like a pseudo origin, we've seen the origin of the Turtles many times throughout the various iterations, but with this one, I mean, again, because they're more like kids, so they're gonna bring more of that youthful energy to it. And it seems like from one of the biggest things with the plot, which we've seen from Turtle stuff before, is that like they kind of just want to like be like normal kids and like try to fit in. Like I love the fact that like they're talking about, hey, like, what would you want to do, like, if you were human? And say, like, I want to, like, go to high school and shit and, like, just be a normal kid. Like, I'm like, like, it's, like,
understandable.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And I'm glad that you put it in the best way possible here. The fact that they're at this age, I'm glad that they're dealing with something else, because if it was these four versus Shredder, I feel like, okay, y'all shouldn't be fighting Shredder right now. This is a little too early for you. I'm glad that you get to have him do like little like smaller incursions or just fights or things to deal with way before that.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, with this iteration of the Turtles, and it's pretty smart on like the casting director and as well as like Seth and Evan Goldberg, Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, because like this seems like this is like this is like them as young kids, and this is like our intro to these versions of the Turtles, but we're gonna work our way up to Shredder. Like if these kids fought Shredder like in the first movie, they would lose, and two, they'd be like extremely terrified because they're kids.
Oh my god, I almost died. No. I almost died. That was so scary. Thank you.
It's okay.
What are your thoughts on this iteration of April O'Neil? I don't know what your thoughts on it.
I don't know April O'Neil that well as a character, so I can't necessarily say. Obviously all the from the 80s TV show with the movies here and there, or from the older like the reboots or the remakes of like new shows. I've always just known as April as being this investigative journalist that the guy hangs out with the Turtles. So I'm not too sure. I suppose the movie will have to come and show me. What about you? True. What do you think?
I like this iteration of April O'Neil. I mean, I also first off, I just like the fact that like they're making her more of a character of color, because people who don't know, when Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird created April O'Neil in the original like comic back in like the 80s, April was modeled after, I think it was like Peter Laird's girlfriend at the time, who was of mixed race. So that's why she had like the curly hair and stuff like that. But then when they got the property for for toys and for the first animated show back in like the mid 80s, the people behind the show decided to just like make her a white woman, and that's kind of what she's been synonymous for throughout throughout like the various iterations. So the fact that like they're making her a character of color is great. And I think also like the recent TMNT show that I didn't watch because I just wasn't really that a fan of it, they also made her black as well, and that was great. So
she's got like Rick James hair right here, man.
Yeah, she got like little twist. I think it's cute. It's nice. And also and it's still April. Like she still wants to be like an investigative journalist trying to figure out what's happening in New York. And I think that that's the core of the character, so they're sticking with it. And she's being played by I love the actress for her. She's being played by trying to find it. Oh yeah, Ayo Edebiri, who people haven't watched the show The Bear. That's on FX.
She's played by her.
Yeah,
snap! Yeah.
In The Bear. So like she's great, and I loved it. I love her on that show. So like this is her April. This version of April O'Neil. I think it fits, and it fits, and it makes sense. So I kind of like. That's why I kind of like about this version. I think
look at you all excited.
It's cool. I'm excited for like all of this. It's so dope.
2 hours later,
we see Superfly over here as the main villain, which again, like I don't know much of. I don't think Superfly's ever been like a big bad in like TMNT lore. It's always been like a kind of like an amateur, like small, like side villain. So the fact that they're making him more like in the forefront, it's also Ice Cube playing him. I think that's even harder, to be honest with you.
With a name like Superfly, I mean, yeah, man, it just works perfect. That's a tough ass name.
Oh hell no! I got the right research. You better be lucky it wasn't me. James, you broke the glass.
I'm calling them the Mutanimals because, like, in the comics, there's a group of mutant animals called the Mutanimals.
Okay.
And so I'm just gonna call them that for now. But yeah, look at that. That's so crazy. Oh man. So for the cast for this, right? We got obviously Ice Cube playing Superfly. You have Paul Rudd, who's playing Mondo Gecko, who is that gecko character that shows up. You have Rose Byrne, who's playing Leatherhead, who's the crocodile character, which is interesting because Leatherhead is like a very scary, vicious character in like TMNT comics who like kind of befriends the turtles in a way. So like the fact that they're gender bending the character, I mean that's interesting. Like, what's Rose Byrne gonna do with this character? Interesting.
Yeah, let's see. I want to see what she does. She's a good one.
Yeah, so you have obviously Seth Rogen, because Seth Rogen has to voice a character in his own movie. He's playing freaking Bebop. Yeah.
Perfect.
And then you have freaking John Cena playing Rocksteady.
Oh my! Yo, I hope he does the best like The Rock impression or something. I don't know. I'm curious to see what he does with that too.
My goal, what I envisioned in this movie, I want him to do like a freaking like charging attack or something, and then hit like a turtle and just be like, "No, you can't see me." Like, he has to do a wrestling joke in there.
And his name is John Cena.
Let's see. Giancarlo Esposito, our boy Giancarlo, our boy Bugging Out, our boy. He's a lot of our boys. I love Giancarlo Esposito. He's playing Baxter Stockman, which is great casting. I love that. Baxter Stockman is that that black guy who that scientist who makes the Mousers, which are like those tiny robots in Ninja Turtles canon. Maya Rudolph playing Cynthia Utrom, which from what I'm getting at is what am I thinking? Come on, I know this. I think it's, what are those characters called? The Utroms, like the robots that are part of the Krang. I think that's like a Krang Easter egg. That's what her character's setting up. And you have Post Malone, who's playing Ray Fillet, which is, I guess, is a fish character. That's kind of funny.
Okay.
And then you have Hannibal Buress playing Genghis Frog.
Genghis Frog.
So yeah, I think the cast of the Mutanimals is like kind of out there, very out of the box, but it's stacked.
This is a good counter to them. Their group versus the Mutanimals. This is a very coming to terms with what you are kind of story. I feel like
exactly, yeah. Which I feel like you kind of need that in like a coming of age like story.
It just
that
thinks
type of
that well.
All right, Chris. Overall, final thoughts, man. You excited now that you've seen the trailer? You excited for this or not?
Yeah, it looks like there's a lot of creativity behind this, and with everybody that's put together and everybody that's behind this, I feel like this is going to be something that you should definitely give it a watch, give it a look see. Don't sleep on it like Into the Spider-Verse. You got to go and see this opening night.
Caught you in 20K HDR 1200 FPS Super Nintendo iOS 49 Blu-ray ultraviolet radiation 1080p PlayStation 5.
No, and I feel like people have learned their lesson from that because obviously the Spider-Verse is coming out, I think like tomorrow. So like knowing how good Into the Spider-Verse was, and seeing kind of like this new art style, and that's what it's called, this new art style coming through like with these various movies that are coming out that take inspiration from Spider-Verse. People aren't going to sleep on them because like they know they're going to get a good ass treat, and obviously like good storytelling too. So which I mean is needed and with this new phase of animation. Well, animation goes forward, so. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much it, y'all. So just be on the lookout for new content. Also check out Chris's stuff. I'll put the link to his channel, as well as his channel that he just started with his friends called Assorted Audience, where they do a lot more movie discussions, stuff like that. Which I've been told him off camera. I'm loving it so far. So
yeah, we would let you a nice special thanks.
I appreciate it. I appreciated it, and I hope I get my shout out.
If you made it this far, people, in the description or in your comment section, tell us your favorite turtle, your favorite turtle movie, and your favorite turtle game.
And we'll catch you on the next time, everyone. All right, later.
Peace.